So in this section, let us see what are different inversions of slider crank chain. So slider crank chain inversions are: first one the oscillating cylinder, second one Whitworth quick return motion mechanism, then third one rotary engine, then fourth one crank and slaughter return mechanism, then fifth one is reciprocating engine and reciprocating compressor, and sixth one is pendulum pump or Boole engine. These are some of the inversions of slider crank chain. So let's see one by one. So first one is oscillating cylinder. So the difference between this 4-bar chain and slider crank chain is one link of the 4-bar chain is replaced by a slider here. That's the difference. So one element will be a slider. That is the difference between a 4-bar chain and a single slider crank chain. So let us see first on the oscillating cylinder. So this is the diagram of the oscillating cylinder. So the cylinder will oscillate. So there will be a crank, there will be a connecting rod or piston, then there will be a piston, there will be a connecting rod and cylinder, and there will be a crank also. The cylinder will oscillate. So how will you obtain that mechanism? Let us see. So here this is the two-dimensional diagram of that oscillating cylinder mechanism. So we have the connecting rod fixer. We have 4 links. That is link number 1 is the piston rod which is connected to the piston. Then link number 2 is the crank. Then link number 3 is the connecting rod, and link number 4 is the cylinder. So first what happens here, how it is working. This connecting rod is fixed. You can see the connecting rod is fixed. The crank will rotate over this path. The rotation of the crank is given to the piston rod. This is link number 1 and which is connected to the cylinder. So when the crank rotates, the cylinder will oscillate and the connecting rod is fixed here. So that is an oscillating cylinder mechanism. This is also convert rotary motion to oscillating motion. So it is one slider is there. So the slider is this, piston is a slider. So that is it is single slider is there. So that is oscillating cylinder mechanism, or cylinder is oscillating or cylinder is sliding. So that is why it is called oscillating cylinder mechanism. The second one is the crank and slaughter quick return motion mechanism. This is a, as the name indicates, a quick return motion mechanism. So the forward stroke or the working stroke we will get it at a slower rate, and the return stroke we will get it at a faster rate, so that we can reduce the time lapse. So that is the advantage of this mechanism. This mechanism is seen in shaper, slaughter, machines, etc. So how that mechanism is working. So it is actually a single slider crank mechanism. So that is, let us see the working of that mechanism. Here we can see different elements. So first let us see the how the links are named. So here the slider, this is the slider. This here you can see the slider B, which is named as the link number 1. Then you can see the link number 2, that is a crank. This is CB. This CB element is the crank or link number 2. You can see the red line path here, that is the link CB will rotate along this circular path, that is the link number 2 or CB. Then link number 3, here you can see the link number 3. This is link number 3, that is the fixed link, that's the link number 3. Then we have the link number 4, that is a slotted bar, that is this this slotted bar is the link number 4. So this is a 4-bar mechanism with one slider. That is why it is called it's called as an inversion of single slider crank chain. So now let us see the working. Here you can see the path of motion of the crank CB is along this circular path. Along this circular path, that's link CB will rotate. That is, it is rotating. That is, it is called a crank. Then when the crank rotates along the path, the circular path, the extreme position of point B or slider B is indicated by the locations B1 and B2, or the slider B will move between the points B1 and B2. That is the position of slider B when the crank rotates along this circular path. Now we have the slotted bar here. This OA, this OA is OP is the slotted bar. So when the crank rotates along the circular path and the slider B moves to B1, the location of slotted lever PO moves to, or the point P, end of, that is the end point of the slotted bar is point B. So when the slider is at position B1, the point P will be at P1. Similarly, when the slider position is at B2, the point P will reach the location of the point P is will be P2. So what does it mean? It means that the crank rotates. When the crank rotates, the point P will move between the between the limits P1 and P2, or this is the path of travel of point P when the crank rotates, and the slider, that is slider B, will move between the points B1 and B2. So that is the movement of or motion of this quick return motion mechanism. So you can also observe that during the forward stroke you can see two angles here, that is angle beta and angle alpha. So you can see these two angles. During the forward stroke, the angle turned by the crank is given by beta, and during the return stroke the angle turned by the crank is given by alpha. You can see from the figure that the beta is greater than alpha. That means the angular rotation of the crank during the forward stroke is greater than the angular rotation of the crank during the return stroke. And this has to be carried out at the same time. What does it mean? It means that since the time is same and the angle turned during the forward stroke is more, it has to be, the forward stroke has to be done at a slower rate, and the return stroke has to be done at a faster rate. That is how we will obtain the slow forward stroke or working stroke and fast return stroke. That is actually the purpose of this mechanism, to get the fast, slow forward stroke and fast return stroke. That is how we are getting that. This is due to the difference in angles, because angle beta is always greater than alpha. Beta is the angle turned by the crank during the forward stroke, and alpha is the angle turned by the crank during the return stroke. Now we can see another element here, that is PR. That is at end P we are attaching the ram. Ram is actually the actually where we fix the tool. The shaper or slaughter will fix a tool on the ram. So to the end P we will fix the ram or PR. That is we will fix the ram at the end P of the slaughter lever. So when the slaughter lever will move will be at the point P, or when point P will be is at the location P2, the location of the point R will be at R2, and when the point P is at location P1, the location of the point or the position of the point R will be at R1. That means when P oscillate between P1 and P2, the ram oscillate between R1 and R2. That means the ram will move over this straight line. That is line of stroke of the ram. So that is how a quick return motion mechanism works. So I'll explain it once again. We have four links. One link is fixer. This is the fixer link. Then we have the crank, which is rotating member. Then we have the slider, which is we have a slaughter lever, which is this one is a slaughter lever. Then we have the slider, which is B, which is attached to the slaughter lever. The slider will, when the crank will rotate, the slider will move between the path B1 and B2, and the point P of which is at the end of the slaughter lever will move between the path P1 and P2. So when the to the end of the point P, to the end of point P we attach the ram. So when the P oscillate between P1 and P2, the ram R will oscillate between R1 and R2. Hence we will get the reciprocating or oscillating motion. And the forward stroke or working stroke will be at a fast rate, because the angle turned by the crank during the forward stroke is more than that of angle turned by the crank during the return stroke. That is how a quick return motion mechanism works. Next, let's see another quick return motion mechanism, which is Whitworth quick return motion mechanism. So it is also used for obtaining quick returns, like the crank and slaughter lever quick return motion mechanism. Here also let us see what are different elements. So we have the link number 1, which is the slaughter bar PA, or this slaughter bar PA is named as the link number 1 here. Then we have the link number 2, which is a fixed link, that is named as the link number 2 or DC. Then we have the link number 3, which is the driving crank. This is a CA. This is named as the link number 3, which is a driving crank. Then we have the link number 4, which is the slider. This slider is named as the link number 4. This is how the nomenclature is made here. Now we can see that the crank is always rotating. So this is the crank, this one is the crank, or CA is the crank. The crank rotates with respect to fixed point C, and the path of movement of the crank is given by this circular path. This circular path, the crank will rotate. Similarly, the point P, which is at the end of this slaughter lever, will also execute a rotary motion, or the projected path of motion of point P will be also a circular path, which is along this circular path. So this is two elements or 2 points, that is crank and point P will trace a circular path. Then the extreme positions are also shown in figure. So when the crank rotates, the extreme position of the slider are shown by point A1 and point A2, and extreme position of point P is P1 and P2. Okay, now we have also forward stroke and return stroke angles. This is the angle alpha here, that is the angle of during the forward stroke. As you can see, the angle is alpha here, and angle beta is the angle turned during the return stroke. So you can observe from the figure that alpha is greater than beta. That means angle during the forward stroke is greater than angle during the return stroke. Therefore, the forward stroke will takes place at a slower rate, and return stroke will takes place at a faster rate. That is how the mechanism is designed here. Now, similar as in the previous case, to the end of this rotor lever, that is the point P, we attach the ram. This is the ram. So the position of the extreme positions of the ram are R1 and R2. So when the point P is at point P1 or location P1, the point R or the ram will be at location R1. Similarly, when the point P is at location P2, the ram will be at location R2. So depending upon the position of movement of this point B, the ram will oscillate along this straight line or along the path R1, R2. So here also what happens, we have obtained a oscillatory or line of oscillatory motion, or it is quick return motion mechanism. That means the return will be taking place at a fast rate. That is all the purpose here. The working stroke of forward stroke will be at a slower rate because the angle alpha is greater than angle beta, and the return stroke will be at a faster rate. That is quick return mechanism. So this is how the Whitworth quick return motion mechanism works. Now we have the fourth inversion of slider crank mechanism. So first, that is a rotary engine. So here you can see the links. First link is link number 1, which is a cylinder. Then link number 2, which is the crank. Link number 3 is the piston, and link number 4 is the connecting rod. Here you can see the crank is fixed to some point, and crank will rotate with respect to that fixed point. So when the crank rotate, it is connected to the connecting rod, and connecting rod is connected to the piston. This is the connecting rod and this is the piston. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pistons and 6 connecting rod, and this 6 pistons and 6 connecting rod is connected to the fixed crank, which is fixed at the center here, and it is rotating with respect to that fixed center. So that is what a rotary engine is. So we have 6 cylinders, 6 pistons and 6 connecting rods. So the rotary engine will reciprocate when the crank rotates. That is rotary engine. This is another diagram of rotary engine. You can see here we have the cylinders. These are the cylinders: cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4, cylinder 5, cylinder 6 and cylinder 6 cylinders. There are total 6 cylinders. We have 6 cylinders, and we have all the connecting rod are connected here to the rotating crank, and the crank is fixed. So when the crank rotates, the piston will reciprocate inside the cylinder. So this is how we convert the rotary motion to reciprocating motion, that is a rotary engine. The crank will rotate at the center and the piston will oscillate inside the cylinder, and the crank and piston is connected with the help of connecting rod, that is rotary engine. Now next one is bull engine or pendulum pump. This is another inversion of side crank chain. Here we are fixing the cylinder. This is, you can see the cylinder. This cylinder is fixed, that is acting as a fixed link. Then we have the link number 1, which is this particular element, which is piston along with the piston rod. Then we have the connecting rod, which is the link number 3, and we have the crank, which is the rotating member, which is the link number 2. So here the cylinder is fixed. So how the mechanism works? This is actually used in pendulum pump or to pump water from wells. You have seen the pendulum pump, which is used to draw water from the bore wells. So this mechanism is made use of there. So here you can see the crank will rotate. This link number 2 or the crank will rotate. The connecting rod will oscillate along this path. So when the connecting rod oscillates along this path, the piston rod will move up and down. The piston rod will move up and down. So that is how this particular mechanism will work. So we can add a lever like this to the link number 1 or piston end of the piston rod, and we can drive the lever along this path. So when the lever oscillates, what happens when this lever when we oscillate the lever, or when we use the lever to pump, the connecting rod, that's the third element, will oscillate along this path, and which in turn moves the piston rod up and down like this. So it is used to draw water from the wells. That is the working of pendulum or bull pump. So these are some of the important inversions of single-sided crank chain. So hope this section is clear to you. We can see the animations of these inversions. You can search in YouTube. You will get the animations of these inversions, so that you will get a clear idea how these mechanisms are moving. So we can just search in YouTube with this name, and you will get the animations of this mechanism, how this mechanism is working. So hope this is 4-bar inversions of 4-bar chain and inversions of single-sided crank chain are clear to you. Next section we will see what is a double-sided crank chain and what are the inversions of double-sided crank chain. So thank you for watching. So you can type your queries and comments in the comment box. If you have any queries or doubts, you can type in the comment box. And if you like the videos, if you understand the sections, you kindly subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon, so that you will be getting the next topics which I am uploading. And also keep in mind, I will be uploading lessons each and every Saturday. So you will be getting the updated lessons every weekend Saturdays, and by the end of this course we will be covering all the 6 modules of Kerala Technological University Mechanics of Machinery, so that during the examination time you will get a database or digital database of this entire syllabus. So thank you for watching. So we will see in another video. Thank you.